Morena koutou, haere mai otu tahi. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to sunny Christchurch. We're here for day 2 of the Division 1 New Zealand Ultimate Championships 2023. I'm Kelsey Bielik, and I'll be your eyes and ears on the ground for this first matchup, an exciting contest between Ellipsis in dark on the left side of the screen, hailing from Australia, versus the Christchurch Cannons in white on the right side of your screen. An exciting matchup today, both really strong teams. Ellipsis top seeded in Australia. We're lucky to have them here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Players flying all the way over to raise the level of competition and compete against international counterparts. Meanwhile, Christchurch Cannons, a relatively young club team, up and coming with a lot of deep talent representing on the international stage, as well as new players coming up through the club as well. Great to see that development. Conditions today are sunny, as you can see. There's a light breeze that's coming from the right side of the screen over to the left, maybe pushing slightly also across field. We'll see how that might develop over the course of the game. Of course, if conditions do get windier, we might see some fun zone plays coming out on defense, different types of offense and throws really to combat that. We've got Cannons down on the right side. Again, Ellipsis on the left, waiting for the pull. Right now, teams talking through their plays they'll be running. Cannons will be starting on defense. We've got the player with her hand up indicating that she's ready, while Ellipsis, no doubt, securing what type of offensive play they'll run. And the pull is up. Ellipsis running down on offense. We've got Egan Griffiths working with Valancourt, handling for Ellipsis. Cannons coming down in a zone, 3-woman cup, putting pressure on the throws. That pressure results in a turnover, and we have Megan Edwards with the disc. Great swinging movement right off the bat from Cannons. And a strong mark there from number 35, Mandy Lee. Great movement from the Cannons. They're coming down in a horizontal stack. Edwards firing deep to receiver Victoria King in the end zone. Puts Cannons on the board for the first point of the game and the first break of the game as well. Now, Cannons, again, as I mentioned, a relatively young club, up and coming. They've really made their mark on the national scene here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, really just demonstrating themselves and displaying themselves as an up-and-coming kind of powerhouse on the national stage. One reason I was really excited and to see this matchup, seeing the high level of competition between both teams, and Ellipsis, of course, as I mentioned, top seed in Australia. And I'm joined here now by my lovely friend Toby.
Good morning. Are you excited to be here?
I'm stoked, Toby.
I'm excited to be here.
Toby Sutherland jumping in for the first game here on Saturday.
Yeah, it's such a nice morning, actually. I couldn't believe the conditions as I was driving out today, and now I'm like super excited to see some ultimate because it's perfect for it. There's a light breeze as well, commonly referred to as the thrower's breeze. Pull coming up.
Toby Sutherland, of course, as a Christchurch resident, knowing and having played with many of these players from the Cannons club as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a familiar club, and it's really cool to see a high-performance club coming up to be competitive at that top level, because that was their goal, and it's cool to see them achieve it within a few years. Now,
great to see the energy. Firing deep. Edwards putting just a bit of pressure on that deep look, and Ellipsis can't convert.
No, it's going to be an opportunity to counter now for Cannons. It's tough. It's the worst corner to play from, for sure, but I think they've got the opportunities here to make a really good play down the field.
So here Cannons converting into a vertical stack. Great deep look. Cool to see Cannons here. Oh, with pressure on defense, resulting in a turnover.
Oh, big shot deep. It's looking break side. It's going to sneak through though, and they're both.
Great catch by Otten. And
Just
again,
out of
can't
reach.
quite convert. It seems like Ellipsis here, maybe having a few opportunities, getting it close to the end zone. Toby, what are ways they could maybe turn these missed opportunities in the end zone into points? What would you recommend?
I think that one was just a little bit of white line fever, where they basically knew it was a goal in their heads. They kind of had the clear field ahead of them and just kind of rushed things a little bit. Just taking a breath in the morning, kind of settle into the game, I think is an important part of these kind of high-pressure games, because these are obviously two top seeds playing.
Natalie Otten on the mark. She's forced a few turnovers. We've got Fung marking the disc. Great handler movement. Disc in the hands of Megan Edwards. Interestingly, Cannons coming out with a zone defense. Here, Ellipsis are playing person or match. Edwards launches it, but Weatherall cleans it up.
Nice swings across the field, opening up space down this break side.
Pong with the disc. Looking for options downfield. It looks like Ellipsis is in a horizontal stack with 3 handlers back. Oh, slicing through the middle.
It's going to punch through the defense. That'll look like a shot for the end zone, and it converts. Point for Ellipsis.
Natalie Otten with the point. We see Ellipsis players streaking onto the field for high fives, celebrating a beautiful catch, putting Ellipsis on the board. The score 1-all.
Yeah, well done by the Ellipsis handlers there to create some movement, and then a beautiful shot through the middle. It's a really interesting defensive look we're seeing from Cannons, where we have that one player standing off and kind of creating just a very soft cup, but we saw it punished by a really clever throw that time.
So Cannons now coming out on offense. Ellipsis, we'll see if they'll be sticking with the match defense that we've seen thus far in the game. This gives them an interesting opportunity and a bit of time to potentially set up a zone. Again, there are some light gusts coming across the field, kind of diagonally. That said, we've seen some great movement with the Cannons handlers. Granted, some enormous pressure from Natalie Otten on the mark, followed by a great converted point. But the handlers for Cannons really moving the disc effectively regardless. I know I'd like to see maybe some challenging defense in that space, maybe pushing the Cannons to get a bit more creative with what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I think Cannons could see a lot of shots come off very quickly all of a sudden, just because we see a little bit of bending away with those long shots. We've seen the really nice flow out of the handlers, and then those long shots just not quite completing. And if they start linking those together, we could see a flurry of points.
Especially if we see the end zone plays that no doubt both teams have drilled coming into play as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice swings here, get the flow moving, back infield to Edwards.
So some switching on the defense here. Oh, enormous defensive pressure from Pigeon. And a run through D gives Ellipsis another chance. Pigeon taking to the skies for an undercut. Oh,
Great
snagged in from Itoyo.
Oh, beautiful pivot. Oh,
However,
pick
a pick called on the field. Toby, what's a pick?
A pick is very straightforward. If a defensive player is chasing an offensive player and anyone gets in their way, they can essentially call pick. It's equivalent to saying I've been obstructed and couldn't do the thing I was supposed to do.
Of course, Ultimate Frisbee, as a non-contact sport, means that if there is contact that will happen or that does happen, yeah, there's a variety of calls you can make.
Yeah, and we like calls that allow people to avoid contact and call it rather than make the contact because they feel they have no other option.
So the disc is reset. Number 8 again looking for that point.
Oh, same throw even.
That's Egan Griffiths putting another point for Ellipsis on the board.
Well, that's some attitude actually. If you make the same throw to the same receiver.
And that's a classic open side cut. It's a classic look from the end zone, streaking from the front of the stack out to either one of the cones. She was just making space there, and the thrower able to just put it into space. Let's see Itoyo putting that up one more time. Fraser with eyes on her defensive player, but can't quite get to that open space.
Beautifully weighted throw. That's gorgeous.
Now Cannons here have called a timeout. With Ellipsis scoring 2 points in a row, Cannons seeing maybe how they can put a plug in that energy, how they can stop, maybe slow this power, this energy that Ellipsis is bringing to a drip.
Yeah, it's an interesting time for Cannons. They've got to decide what it is they're missing here. Is it a fire on defense? Is it a calmness on offense? Is it just trusting teammates? There's a variety of things that they're going to be talking about to try and get things going this morning. You never want to come out flat on a game like this, because getting behind a few points against a good team and you'll stay behind the rest of the game.
So, of course, with the next point, Cannons will be coming out on offense. A few things, jumping off of what Toby just mentioned there, a few things they might be discussing could also be what offensive structure they're going to set up. Cannons, again, a very well-drilled team, no doubt have some pull plays in the back pocket. Could be looking at putting out a pull play, which is an established play that the team has drilled. It provides a string of passes and a strategy right off the bat to hopefully convert into a quick point, put one more point on the board for the team, and hopefully swing the momentum a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to see a quick scoring strategy for sure. Get themselves back on the board, show that they're right there in the game. Yeah, they can keep up. I would love to see something like that.
At the same time, it's the energy that I think Ellipsis is really bringing right now on offense and defense. That beautiful run through D from Pigeon, the powerful mark from Natalie Otten, plus also converting in the end zone. We're seeing diversity on offense and defense, really a depth of skills across the board. So Cannons coming out to match that energy, and for them, no doubt looking to put some more points on the board. A lot of depth, of course, on the Cannons as well. We've got a range. We've seen what the throwers are capable of. Beautiful swing passes, some gorgeous undercuts, and range of players on the team with some really powerful deep looks, not afraid to launch those cannons, the bombs from those cannons downfield, and of course receivers to be right there and reel it in as well.
Yeah, this is a strong looking line actually. I'm excited to see what Cannons are putting together here.
We've got players such as Samantha Cording or Belle Fraser, really threats in the deep space. They've got not only the height but also the hops and the athleticism to reel in any rogue discs, and great targets as well as great throwers in their own right.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, here comes the pull.
Weatherall launches the disc downfield, and Tiang picking it up to Teo Lenartz. Interestingly, Ellipsis coming out in a zone now, switching from their match defense.
Yeah, it's an interesting zone we're seeing here, like a little bit of an arrowhead, kind of one up close on the mark and the flanking kind of player further back. It allows the swings for free, essentially, but makes downfield progress very challenging. It's really up to Cannons now to solve the problem of how to get downfield. So far, they're living with the disc well, though. I'm enjoying the swings, and let's see if we use the full width of the field, kind of make those gaining swings.
Really well put, Toby. And I think also Cannons right now, they're making great movements among the handlers. Tiang launches it. Weatherall once again in that space to just clean up the strays, sweep up the ends, converts into a turnover. Oh, some beautiful fakes, swinging to Weatherall there, launches it deep, and what a catch in the end zone. Weatherall to Otten for the points. What a beautiful connection. Both players also no doubt could have switched roles. Otten with her throws and Weatherall also has a formidable deep look. Ellipsis puts one more point on the board, making the score 3-1. Also just commenting on the throws, there, I wanted to note when Fung picked up the disc, she was throwing some great fakes, really moving the mark around where she wanted the mark to be, to open up that swing to the break side, finding Weatherall. When you're opening up the disc, when you're opening up the break side of the field, it really opens up a lot of options. We say, of course, the mark tends to be, when in a match defense, 50% of the defense, taking away half of the field while leaving the other 50% to the downfield defense.
Yeah.
So when you are able to move the disc to the break side of the field with one of those gorgeous backhand breaks that Fung put up, it opens up so many options, Weatherall continuing that break look, just making it so much more difficult for the defense to get there. Even Samantha Cording, with her powerful athleticism, her intense closing speed there, makes it much more difficult for a defensive player, even like Cording, to read where the disc is going to go, gives the offense so many more options.
Yeah, and credit to Weatherall, of course, for placing it on the other side of the player. It makes it really hard. Here comes the pull now. It's lofty, a lot of hang time on this. This means a lot of chase down for the defenders.
Teo to Lenarts to Tiang.
Nice cut forward by Taylor Nuts. Got to punch through, get that full progress. Again, working through the middle. Really nice so far.
Staying on the relative high side. Again, some light winds, but this is relatively the high side of the field. Great movement after breaking out of the cut there.
Oh, brilliant.
What a zone offense, Toby.
That was a fantastic point. And you love to see that now, like, of all times as well. You've got to put your stamp back on the game. You've had a couple of tough points where you've had a quick turn and then immediately the other team scored. So it's great to come out and show that you can play that high-level frisbee as well. We don't care about that defense. We're going straight through it.
Absolutely. This is classic zone offense. You're seeing the whole team being used once the handlers have broken through that space. Just those flowing passes, finding easy the next open player, fake, looking for the right opportunity, and Teo Lenarts into her safe hands, catching one more point for the Cannons. And that's the type of energy I like to see, especially from a team that maybe has missed a few points, that they were looking to score. They're coming back out and really claiming this space that's showing strong mental resilience, mental toughness, and the score now 2-3 to Ellipsis.
Absolutely. And just a fantastic point from Taylor Lenarts, just punching through. She was almost every second throw on that one. It's really excellent work to get the offense moving. All right, so we get to get a good look at the Cannons D-line now, because they'll be coming in. They haven't had too many D points so far, so it'll be interesting to see what they're throwing.
Tiang with disc in hands, raising her hand indicating she's ready for the pull. And Ellipsis with their offensive line. Weatherall hangs back to pick up, handling with Egan Griffiths. Looking for that huge backhand huck. We'll see. Third time's the charm. She puts it up to Weatherall.
Nice pressure by Tiang though, just to get it to go early enough that it's challenging. Yeah, that was a beautiful defense by Cannons, really putting a lot of pressure on those short throws, forcing that deep look.
Also, Tiang, with her body and taking up that space deep, forcing Weatherall to go up earlier, I think, than she would have liked.
Yeah, definitely. It was right on the fingertips, that one. Well, let's just see if we can get a conversion here. Oh, nice little slap down D there.
Great under and deep cuts. Bessling was hungry for that deep look. Egan Griffiths looks again, and what a catch.
That is beautifully collected. Amazing catch.
Toya with the points. I think that Egan Griffiths was just trying to maybe create some highlight reel opportunity for her teammates there. We'll see that one more time. Great D, just finding the space, reading where the play was going to go. Egan Griffiths was an outside-in forehands, finding that safe space.
I mean, it was sharp angle, but I mean, you have to get that there quickly, you know? Like, you're trying to take advantage of that space on that side and getting it out there and scoring a goal, that's absolutely worth it.
Especially when you've trained with your teammates, you have that trust and you know what they're capable of. Knowing that Itoyo can make that quick movement, and she's willing to lay her body out on the line, throw her body onto the turf to clean up, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, whatever you're putting her way.
Absolutely. No, it's awesome. It's awesome to see the trusted teammates like that, and then them coming in and catching such an impressive catch. It's fantastic.
Ellipsis now on defense. We'll see. I'm curious if they'll be running the zone that we've seen them put out once with that arrowhead formation, or if they'll be sticking with the match that they've had going this game. Either way, the intensity on defense has been great from Ellipsis.
Another nice pull, lots of time for defenders to get down. And here we see tight match. Oh no, a little bit loose actually. It does look vaguely zony.
Zony downfield, yep.
But it's a different look. It's something else that they need to solve.
Similar to
Junk
the
defense.
2016 Whaitiri women's zone, the New Zealand national women's team. Doesn't seem to be the zone here. Kind of putting pressure around the handlers. A bit saggy with that defense as well. Inside out upwinds, and the wind catches it. Floaty and far in place. But she can't bring it down. She's called a foul on the field.
Yeah, it's tough. That's really contested when it goes up like that. You know, a lot of time to drift and a lot of way to get hands in there. Ultimately, it's up to the players now to discuss and decide how they think that went down and see if they can come to a nice, fair resolution.
It looks like Carr is saying that there may have been contact hitting the disc. Far indicating with her hand signals, great communication, that there was a foul and it's been contested, which means the disc will be going back. And it's tough when you're throwing upwind. We're feeling it picking up a bit more. When you're launching an upwind throw, the wind can have the tendency to pop it up like that, making what we sometimes call an ultimate frisbee a hospital pass. Not an issue for this team. Fraser in the end zone with a catch.
Out of nowhere from the stoppage, just one quick pass and then a beautiful long shot. Picked up one hand in the end zone. That is amazing. Cannons come away with it. Here we see the tap in.
Apologies, that was Grace Douglas with the catch. Grace Douglas with the points.
Quick give go, and then bam. Beautiful forehand down the line. Snagged with that left hand, just in.
What a powerful forehand from Mance. Such energy from Mance. She's a youth player who came up within the Christchurch scene. She's been playing at this high level for such a long time, and really a good example, a testament to the growth that especially Cannons have been putting into the community, that the Christchurch Ultimate community has been putting into the youth as well, really trying to bring up next talent, investing in youth programs, high school programs as well.
Yeah, and not just focused on performance, but just like Nasi is a perfect example of just getting people in to enjoy the game, you know, and she's played a large role in that as well.
Nasty, of course, being another women's club team from Christchurch.
Here comes the pull.
Tiong launching it downfield.
Nice quick collection from Ellipsis. We have to see what comes out from these first cuts. It's looking static downfield.
Egan Griffith with the hammer. What a safe option as well. Wide open receiver to Alton's safe hands. Back to even Griffith. Backhand break downfield. Pigeon with the disc. Finding two open players. Good comms in that deep space.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that Egan Griffiths rather, is really putting on a masterclass of how to get through that defense. The looks were clearly there for over-the-top throws, and she pulled up the hammer and, yeah, it made it happen.
And props also to Carr for finding that space for conversation in that deep space to discuss. You know, I think it looked like Alton and Carr were both in position. Maybe Alton with her hand up, but Carr just coming under. Alton providing backup in case something went awry. And a bit of switching on defense as well. Cannons doing their best to cover all the options there.
Yeah, Cannons are picking a strategy where they put a lot of pressure on the close throws and no easy free ones. But it seems that Ellipsis throws are rising to the challenge. You know, they have to take on slightly harder throws behind, and so far we've seen them pull it off. So we'll have to see if Cannons has to loosen a little bit more on that tight defense, see if they can, or maybe just throw one player that's really heads up and really sprightly back. They do have some quite athletic players that can make those kind of bids.
And when you are putting a lot of pressure right around the disc, it challenges handlers, something that's really exciting to see Egan Griffiths step up to, challenging those handlers to open up their vision on the field. So when there's a lot that's happening around the disc, what Egan Griffiths did right there, she looked up and she found the open options outside of what was happening right in front of her, finding those players deep. Pull comes up, we've got 3 handlers back from Cannons, and a zone looks like from Ellipsis on defense.
Nice movement so far. We did catch a fingertip on the distance. Oh, great grab. Oh, didn't quite maintain it through the landing. That's super unfortunate.
Pong with the disc. And Cannons in a transition zone on defense. Transition meaning they came out on offense and are now on defense, but taking the time to find their positions instead of just matching up in-person defense, which is more common.
Yeah, it's good as well because it makes other teams think twice. Often D-lines are used to getting a turn and then having to just deal with match defense, and so seeing something else really makes them think and throw passes, and we see turns come from it.
An uncharacteristic drop from Fung. Again, it could be the wind picking up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It is coming from behind us, from the near side to the far side. A bit of a crosswind on the field. Doesn't scare Tara Linnertz though, goes over the top. Unfortunately, Weatherall is too sharp in the deep. Cleans that up. Now looking to kind of reset the offense for Ellipsis.
Ellipsis with some great movements. And I know I was talking before about how they're the top seed in Australia. Interestingly, of the 6 World Games players who are on the Australian team, only 2 are actually playing on this team here. That said, Ellipsis has picked up 3 very good players from New South Wales as well. So very cool that there's representation across Australia on this team, but also noting that it's not quite the same team that may have been playing domestically over there.
Yeah.
Things like player fees, flights, it makes it quite expensive to play internationally, and another reason we're really lucky to have a team coming over from Australia to represent here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough to gather everyone, but they're here now and they're putting up a brilliant fight with Cannons, who've managed to get a really awesome pressure defense and turned it into a flowing offense so far. We see them making great progress down the field. We just need to see a patient conversion and they'll be scoring. That's it. Beautiful work.
Hungry for the point there. Love that little pop pass. And also Taylong's patience as she's standing on the sideline. Patience and waiting for the right option to show up. She's not biting. She's not rushing any options.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant point for Cannons. That really was. The fact that they had that turnover early and then scrambled to get their defense going, and they had enough kind of presence of mind to kind of find the players, the threats, kind of contain the disc, and then force a bunch of passes, which eventually resulted in the turn. It's a fantastic point.
And Tiong, something I'm excited about for the rest of the game. We haven't quite seen it yet. She hasn't been challenged into making these throws, but some incredible low release, especially backhands, forehands. She's not someone to be underestimated in any way in breaking a mark, which she can do in a variety of ways. An arsenal of throws in her back pocket, and just here an example of her chilly patience when she's waiting for the right option to open up in the end zone.
Yeah, absolutely. The wind's starting to really pick up now. It's going to become a big factor in this game for sure.
Toby, one thing I am a bit surprised about that we haven't seen so much is end zone plays, and I know I mentioned this in the very beginning. Teams seem to be they're converting on the end zone lines, and they're turning these options into points, less than the beginning where there were more turnovers happening, as you mentioned, the white line fever. But we haven't seen many end zone plays.
No, it's true. It seems free flow. Oh, big shot deep. Let's see if we can reel this down. Oh,
what
beautiful read.
Egan Griffiths to Pigeon.
That's a fantastic take by Pigeon. There was a lot of pressure on that. She didn't have the position. Edwards had the first bit at the disc. Just managed to sneak over the top though, did Pigeon.
What a receiver. She just climbed up the ladder, patrolling the skies. The fighter pilots, Angela Pigeon, giving us a wee cheer on the sideline. She's stoked about that point too.
That's a beautiful shot.
Yes, and of course, not to mention Egan Griffiths' powerful backhand hug.
Yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of luck to win a frisbee game. Some things go your way sometimes, and that one was a very contested throw, and they made it come off. So it's going to power them ahead to a healthy lead. It's going to be definitely in the Cannons' court to bring this one back.
The score now 6-3 to Ellipsis. Cannons coming out on offense. We see the team down here discussing what they'll be running, what the strategy is. Curious again if we'll be seeing Ellipsis maintaining this zone. They've been sticking to the match defense, really acknowledging the beautiful swinging movements and space that the handlers from Cannons have been able to find.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because we've seen so many defenses already. We've seen that like arrowhead zone. We've seen a form of like junk where it's very loose kind of match, and we've seen tight match so far. So they're clearly not afraid to mix it up, and we'll have to see what they come down with this time.
Weatherall with the pull, and Mance retrieving the disc. Handler starting that movement right away. Edwards to Mance. Oh. Hammer over the top. Love to see it. And Carr just catching it out of bounds with that defensive play. There's looks like a bit of a conversation right now as to whether she caught it inbounds or out of bounds. She's established her pivots, but of course as the disc is inbounds, she wanted to ensure that she wasn't traveling. Just some communication on the field to clear up any confusion.
All right, now it's on Cannons. They've got to get another turnover here. Conceding another point to make it 7-3 that'd be a large hill to climb. Nice pressure so far on the mark. Really good pressure by these two defenders from Cannons up the front. Fraser and Douglas doing really a lot of pressure.
Two such strong, tall players. Really formidable marks when they're on the disc.
Oh, just sneaking that one through. Ellipsis has got to run on the disc now.
Threading the needle, hey.
Cannons are working for it, though. They really fought to get back to cover that, and so they're trying to kill this flow as best they can.
Such clean hammers in this game, launching it downfield. Props to Mance for keeping that play clean there. She was running in on that defense, closing in hot, but pulled out, keeping it clean. It looked like it could have been a bit of a tumble if she had gone for the disc there, but a clean point for Ellipsis.
Yeah, and it's tough when you're Cannons in this point. You know, you've got to keep your head in the game because you're out there fighting and it's still not coming off. You know, like they were clearly working on defense, and Ellipsis still found a way through. And you know, you're trying to find these hammers over and they're not quite coming off, and so it's tough to stay in it because you're dropping points when it feels like you're playing pretty similar ultimate. You know.
And Fung to Bituin for the point. We see that one more time. I love this hammer, though, just opening up options. Carr trusting her teammates. And Itoyo to Fung one more time with that backhand. Sailing downfield. And Weatherall there for the celebration. And that's one thing I think is really important in Ultimate Frisbee. Of course, it's a team sport, but in order to score a point, it's one person throwing, making the assist and one person catching. Nonetheless, I think when the entire team is celebrating it, when you see players like Weatherall there with their hands up celebrating that point, that's really important energy to bring to every point. It carries the team. You know, when big plays happen, when your teammate does something big, bringing that energy up, it can help carry the team forward. And I don't think this is a situation right now, but especially in long games, long points, where people are getting tired. In this situation, Ellipsis trying to ride that high through the end of the game. Nonetheless, we're seeing those beautiful flowing passes from Cannons, which they'll be continuing, no doubt, and that high energy on defense, bringing out those big marks to challenge those throwers a little bit more, to get creative in finding the space.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're dead on. The big celebrations for a team scoring absolutely translates into fire for defense. We often see that, and the bigger the celebrations, the more fire the defense get. And sometimes you'll even see the timeouts called just to break that flow, because sometimes you see teams just so energetic and just flying around the field.
And potentially something Cannons are discussing right now, so a timeout right now that's been called, to kind of try to break that energy. Ellipsis is all smiles over there. Laughter and smiles all around with Cannons matching that energy, definitely. One thing I was really enjoying, big smiles from Belle Fraser, number 55. Maybe checking in with the other team. One thing I was really appreciating before was the music that Cannons had going on to start this game as well. They were all dancing. They were vibing off that positive energy, vibing off each other, going into this game, and that's so important when you're playing as well, to focus on what your team is doing, maintaining your own energy, and not matching the other team at all. As I like to say, controlling the controllables, what you're in charge of.
Yeah, absolutely. We can see Smiley Fraser on the sideline here is Spirit Captain, having a chat with the other team. They'll be their Spirit Captain and having a brief discussion if there's any niggles or things that can be improved upon, or just setting up for a nice, clean, spirited game.
That's Fraser and Mandy Lee from the Ellipsis side as Spirit Captains. We can see the Ellipsis lineup there. Fraser talking with Lee, maybe ironing out or just getting on the same page. Communication, of course, one of the pillars of Spirit of the game and Ultimate Frisbee. Both teams will actually be marking each other's spirit of the game at the end of the game. Very important part. And when the tournament concludes, there will be a spirit winner as well as the winner of the games.
And for some, they consider that the greater prize. It really is like a vouch by everyone you've played against that you were enjoyable to play with. And a lot of the teams are here for fun, for sure.
Pong with a laser pull downfield. And Ellipsis looks like they're setting that classic arrowhead zone that Toby mentioned. Not an issue finding courting right away, moving the disc to the sideline. Tail Lennart's launching it deep.
Oh, beautiful point.
A point into the safe hands of Grace Douglas.
Yeah, that was just exemplary flow. That was textbook.
That was. Those quick passes we saw, I think it was Magnus finding courting in the middle of the field for that gap, just that undercut, swinging to the sideline, and then classic sideline throw, launching it down the sideline to an open player deep.
Yeah, beautiful flow, absolutely. The purpose of that zone is to slow down that downfield flow, but Cannons just found a way through, absolutely. Punching through the middle.
Apologies, that was Tiong with the first throw.
Yeah, and then the follow-up dishy from Jenkins, and it's just a beautiful point, beautiful Frisbee.
Love that celebration there.
Yeah, we saw a big celebration from Cannons there, as you were saying, so let's see if we get some big defensive fire coming down. They have been employing that kind of junk look where it's like a very loose match where players will kind of muck an area and pick up anyone in the area. And one of the things we've been seeing is that they've been marking a very close junk, close to the throwers, and Ellipsis has been forced to go over and around. So we'll have to see if they employ that again and make any adjustments for that.
So we're here again for those of you who might just be joining at Puna Y Sport Complex here in beautiful Ōtautahi, Christchurch in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Big thank you to ulti.TV who are making this happen, providing this live stream to you. If you like what you see, if you want to support this more, head over to their Patreon, patreon.com/ulti.TV, and toss any spare change you might have their way. Will definitely help us fix any technical issues in the future a bit quicker and support the team and providing quality live streaming.
Wow, that's amazing. It's worked out exactly as we were wondering. Cannons came down with this nice junk, forced to throw over the top, and it didn't work out. The wind caught that hammer and just drifted it away.
I think that's the first hammer that hasn't been a catch that we've seen in this game.
Yeah, it's been high percentage so far. Oh, beautiful shot.
Yeah, it was one of those lower release backhands I was mentioning.
It's nice patient offense so far from Cannons. I'm really enjoying this where they're happy to sit with it, They're looking for those nice gainers through, and if they're not finding it, it's just comfy resets.
Tiong commanding the field as the center handler there. We've got disc in the hands of Sanders. Finding Tiong, what a layout! All right,
Oh my
Madeline,
God.
what a point!
That is amazing play.
Madeline's casually smiling, just giving some high fives. Oh, hugs all around to teammates. That is a highlight reel for sure.
That is absolutely a highlight reel.
She fully extended to scoop up that disc. Let's see that one more time.
We see the setup of the cut. Throw just a little too far, but great dive to collect that, and without hesitation, fires it into the end zone for Cording.
Again, that's what I was mentioning with those break side looks. Once you have the disc on the break side, it's easy to just continue that string. Tiong jumping up after laying it all out onto the turf and capitalizing on that distance she has from her defender, no mark, to launch it. Defense trying to catch up, slightly out of position again. They're marking on the open side, but Cording cleaning that up in the end zone. Tian making that a safe catch. Just trying to tone down the excitement, making it a safe, easy catch for Cording in the end zone. Another point for Cannons on the board, bringing the score to 6-7 to Ellipsis.
I think everyone just was so stunned and impressed by that layout grab, and they just stopped defending.
Could be.
I mean, look, it was a fantastic grab.
Maya Mance with the disc and the pull, and Ellipsis coming down on offense.
Great chase by Cannons. A lot of pressure. No first throws. Now
Milling
right on the
towards
sideline.
Egan Griffiths. Victoria King on the mark. And Carr cleaning it up. Oh, beautiful movements.
Yeah, Egan Griffiths here has just been destroying this Cannons defense with these great looks around defenders.
Oh, great movement to Atoyo. Really, the Ellipsis using the width of the field, finding all open options. Cannons, of course, really contesting it, putting pressure, making it just a bit more challenging to find those cuts. Weatherall, however, she's poached deep, displaying her football skills. Weatherall, of course, an ultimate frisbee player with the hand-eye coordination, but showing that she's got that foot-eye coordination as well. Great points in the end zone, though.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be a shout-out to Egan Griffiths for creating these holes. She was in a challenging spot on the sideline and managed to find so many throws through. And then
Valancourt, Weatherall seeing it into her safe hands.
there's just a brief discussion happening now around whether or not that
Brief
is
discussion
halftime.
on the field, yeah. Discussion on the field again, just sorting through details.
Often in tournaments like this, there are different scores with group play and then quarterfinals, semis, finals, and that governs when you would take a halftime in the game. And so there's just a little bit of contention around what the score they're playing to is and whether or not it is halftime.
We've got ulti.TV, camera people on the fields, a few of the people who are running the show behind the scenes here, helping to provide a bit of guidance as well. And great to see some fans here as well. We've got a few fans here on the sideline. Love to see the kiddies out on the field. You can see in the corner of your screen chatting to Jenkins there. First game of the day. There's also a few fans sitting in the bleachers in the stadium just across the way. And we'll no doubt be seeing more teams more fans from clubs also. Ellipsis Opens, apologies, is another team that came over. We've got the women's and the Opens team, so the club representing here in the Opens division as well. We'll no doubt see players, you know, there's other games happening on a range of fields around here. The Division 2 games are actually streamed just behind us. You'll hear Toby and myself no doubt commentating a few of those as the day goes on. But players from different teams, fans showing up over the course of the day.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm excited to see some of the Div 2 games as well. I'm definitely familiar with a lot of the teams and players, and I know there's a lot of new faces that I haven't seen before actually. So I'm really excited to see the growth and development coming along in some of those teams.
And an exciting way also across Aotearoa, New Zealand, we've got Mount Maunganui from up north in the North Island sending a women's team. We've seen growth from players across the Taranaki region. Yeah, a lot of development outside of the large hubs such as Christchurch, Wellington, Auckland, Dunedin. We're seeing teams starting to pop up in places and really a testament to the development that's happening nationally. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of those smaller centres are becoming, you know, really quite impressive.
So we will pause for halftime. The score now 6-8 with Ellipsis up. We'll be back soon. In the meantime, we're your eyes and ears on the ground. My name is Kelsey Bielik.
And I'm Toby Sutherland.
We'll see you soon. Ora Koto. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second half of this matchup between the Christchurch Cannons and Australia's Ellipsis. Cannons, of course, in white with the disc on offense now on the left side. Fraser with the disc swinging back to Mintz. Really using the width of the field, and Ellipsis on the right side of the screen in dark. Getting carried away with the play here. It's an exciting matchup, but my name is Kelsey Bielik.
I'm Toby Sutherland joining.
Thank you for joining us. Bit of a miscommunication turnover. Ellipsis has the chance on offense.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate turnover. That was an important opportunity for Cannons as well. There was a little bit of a kerfuffle about the half-time at which end, so that was an offense for them as an opportunity to score. Kind of even up the 8-6 scoreline, but here we see, oh, great defense there. Perfectly read the swing and just got a hand in the way. And streaking deep now.
Douglas looking for the bookends.
No throw though, Cannons electing to play a little bit slower. Now playing through Edwards at the back here.
Edwards finding that space through there to Far. Oh, looks like Gordon wasn't sure if it was going to her. Miscommunication leads to the turnover, and Ellipsis has another chance on offense.
Bit of smiles and confusion there as that one goes awry. Again, great defense by Douglas for Fraser up the front though. It's causing a lot of trouble for the resets here at Ellipsis.
Alton with the disc, launches it deep. Trying to find Carr, who reels it in. Beautiful outside in forehand. Mance gets a hand on it, and it's just enough to convert that into a turnover.
Yeah, great work by Mance. Just get something to that, just to disrupt the catch a little bit, just enough to kind of put the defender off. I think Far got in trouble a little bit by turning to try to catch the frisbee and catching some sun in the eyes and losing track there. Mance now started on the far side. Tricky place to play, static field. Nice find though over the top, using those tall players. Nice flow here, McGuinness looking for options.
Looking for Douglas, who's hungry for that deep shot. Holsters it.
Beautiful
Cannons
finds.
running the catches, the flowy unders. Far reels it in, good footwork there.
Yeah, towed the line nicely. Now we just need to see some nice patience to kind of work this one in. There's that gap in the middle of the field there, nicely identified.
Oh, sees Mance streaking upline for the strike cut. Beautiful connection to Fraser in the end zone.
What a one-handed catch. It's a real snag, as they say. It's just stuck to the fingers, basically Spider-Man.
Now we've dived directly into the second half here. But as a quick recap for the first half, we've seen what a great example of it. Some beautiful flowy offense from the Cannons. I really like the way they've been finding the open players and hitting the open players on the field. That said, there have been a few highlights. Madeline Tiang as an individual highlight reel on her own, running the handler space and sending some insane layout. If you're just tuning in now, you'll have to rewind to see that. That's that point one more time. Yeah. In the meantime, Ellipsis really finding the spaces, finding the cracks in the zone that Cannons has been running. And when Cannons have been going person, Ellipsis finding some beautiful looks, connections between Egan Griffiths, especially with some beautiful backhand hucks. Weatherall finding space also in the deep, as well as launching it herself with an arsenal of throws in her back pocket. Really, we've seen looks from across the entire team, which is what I enjoy the most when I watch Ultimate Frisbee. Great athleticism from both sides. The score now 8-7 to Ellipsis.
Yeah, Ellipsis coming up on offense now. Resetting to that powerful throw, Egan Griffiths in the middle. And again, Cannon's doing this high pressure in close, and it's up to Egan Griffiths to find that gap.
I think she's enjoying it. I think this might be her happy space is zones. I'm starting to wonder.
Yeah, she seems extremely comfortable here, and so it's up to Cannons to really kind of disrupt this flowing pattern.
Ton taking to the ground and throwing again before she gets up.
They're not finding those same huge breakaway options, though, through and over. And so the Cannons' adjustments have been really nice. They're still forcing a lot of throws here. Ellipsis is rising to the challenge, keeping it very, very reliable throws so far.
Great swinging movements. I love how they're just finding that open player. And was she in there? It looks like she's calling it out of bounds. A great find nonetheless. And Itoyo just finding that open space. Looks like they're having a conversation about it.
Yeah, it's a real shame that has been ruled out. Actually, just it was such a nice offense. It's a shame it wasn't rewarded. A little bit of a mistake.
I think the wind may have caught that. Just pushing it up a little bit. Regardless, we've got the turnover, and Edwards walking the disc up to initiate the Cannons offense.
Nice initial cuts there to get people moving. Manson Edwards in the middle.
Oh, great give and goes. Mance waiting for the open options. Ellipsis making them a bit more challenging to find. Great defensive pressure with their match defense right now. Forcing backhand, forcing upwind. Mance finding that break look. Fires it a bit too low and that laser goes to the ground. Ian Griffith finds a scuba. And a pop past Weatherall.
Yeah, a lot of style coming out from Ellipsis there. A scuba into a little backhand pop for the score.
Yes, I love that. Actually, we were seeing a lot of that yesterday from the Ellipsis Opens team. We were seeing some push passes in the wind, as well as pop passes, cheeky backhands. I think there was an entire point where there were quick give and goes, and we're seeing a bit of a reflection that here as well. Maybe something that the club has in common, some style and not afraid to throw some small pop passes to the quick work to convert to a point.
You may as well have fun with it. And I mean, they're picking the right option, right? The Starly throws are still the right throw in that case. If the scuba's the option, it's on.
The score now 9-7 to Ellipsis. And players on the field just discussing defensively what they'll be doing. We're seeing Cannons players, Captain Teo Lenartz, discussing offensively what the plan will be. Weatherall has the disc in hand. She'll be pulling it downfield with the wind at their back.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenging point for Cannons because they really need to get this comeback underway, and this is an upwind point. The Ellipsis is, defense has been quite strong, so it's they're gonna have to really get their heads together and kind of nut out a plan for how to do this.
Weatherall ready for the pull. Now Weatherall, a player coming up from the New Zealand community, recently moved over to Australia. She's got a history playing with Ellipsis as well, a lot of legacy playing with the team, but previously was based in Wellington and was a fundamental player in helping to establish the Nexus club team and has played with them in the past. So no doubt, what a deep look!
And a celebration that matches.
Yeah. Oh, she is stoked. As I was saying, no doubt Weatherall excited to be back on home turf here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, but also playing with her club team that she's played with, through the past few years as well. Anyway, back to that Cannons points. Faking, finding that open player, and Teo Lenartz, who's just been showing us her backhand hucks, ability with the backhands, towing it in the end zone. That's Bessling with the points.
Yeah, that's a beautiful find. There was clearly a lot of movement on the field, a lot of figuring out where defenders were trying to position, and Teo Lenartz just snuck that one in perfectly.
And that outside-in edge on it allowed it to not pop up in the wind, maybe pushed it down a little bit. So we saw Bessling kind of leaning over to scoop it up, but at the same time, so well balanced and placed in the wind to find the mark there.
Yeah, the fact that it came down right where it did was just perfect as well, because any further to the left, it's out of the field. Any further to the right, it's into a defender. It couldn't have been better.
Tiang with the disc up. We'll see if we get any more highlight reel plays from her this half. Launching it downfield.
Really lifting with the wind, giving a lot of time for the Cannon defenders. If it's not even caught, this is a good opportunity. We see those same big defenders from Cannons.
Egan Griffiths not flustered in the slightest. Looks like she may have called contact on the mark there. Finding the spaces in between. Disc with Pong at the moment.
I'm liking the hustle from Cannons though. That throw gets past and they're running back, like really running back to get and cover those next throws. It's a lot of pressure.
Griffiths saying no, that the throw's not on. Finding the outside in. What a catch. Towing it in the line there. Looks like that may have been contested. Let's cut back to that replay. A quick game of is it out or is it in? There she catches it. What do you guys think? They're asking for our input. Of course, as commentators, we are going to stay impartial here. A great catch nonetheless. And the players have ruled it inbounds. Good spirit from both sides.
A large part of spirit of the game in Frisbee is actually benefit of the doubt to offense. A lot of the time. Oh, what a forehand though.
What a throw!
Oh.
Ooh. Oh no, it looks like Pigeon was closing in hot there. And good spirit from number 23, indicating that there was a foul, was contact that she may have initiated on the play. Sorry, that's 33, Becky Farr. Maybe calling contact on number 14. We'll see what happens. Hope pitch isn't okay. Helping each other up. So there's a foul on the play. They're indicating it's an uncontested foul. So both players have agreed with the foul call.
Ellipsis will have the disc just outside the goal here.
And this is where I would expect to see an end zone play being set up. So this might be that. Cannons in classic form kind of crowding the disc. Eakin Griffith.
Might see a hammer here.
Oh, throwing it!
Oh!
What a layout! Just off the fingertips.
Yeah, Pigeon's been made to throw the body around for sure. After having a tumble, she's laying for that hammer.
And we'll see if we can catch that highlight again. But now cutting to the game, it's too spicy, too hot to tune away right now. Taylor Lenartz commanding the field. We've got her classic backhand huck. Finding Douglas deep. And Douglas continuing to Magnus in the end zone.
That is amazing.
End zone to end zone. Cannons out here showing us exactly how good flow happens. So the score is now 9-9. We've got Cannons 9, Ellipsis 9, tied game, and what a game of Ultimate it is. This is the reason we come to the National Championships. The reason these players are training all season is to play against the highest level possible. And, you know, while a game of 15-2 is great for those who are in the lead, this is really what we're here to watch.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Exciting, hotly contested matches.
Yeah, the tight games are really where it's at. That's where everyone has their absolute most memorable memories. It's such a beautiful thing when you're in that really tight game and you're absolutely battling to be there. It's such a rewarding thing because you have put in so much effort, as you say, throughout the season, and for it to pay off with all your efforts is, it's really a beautiful thing.
And of course, big respect and nods to both teams for, in this hotly contested game, keeping spirit high, keeping communication effective and respectful, and helping each other up when they've fallen over.
Yeah, there's been so few calls. It's been really, really a clean game. All right, let's see what Cannons has for defense here. They've been really doing such a good job up close on these marks.
We've got a zone. Fraser in the middle of the cup, stopping those midfield options now on the mark. Egan Griffiths with the disc.
Yeah, they're really making these resets a little bit challenging for them. The straight behind is on, but the swings are not easy. There's a lot of pressure, and Ellipsis is getting pushed back. They're trying to force some flow here, but again, stifling defense.
Oh, looks like, yeah, a bit of contact there.
Foul call there, quickly resolved, moving on. Stuck on the sideline now, Egan Griffiths.
Mance on the mark. And great movement between these handlers here. You know, there's a lot of pressure on defense, but they're still chilly. They're waiting to find the options, moving it beautifully between them. Fung here just moving the mark around. She's faking everywhere.
Yeah, quick fakes. Really.
I love the energy that they're bringing to the field.
Yeah, they're having a little bit of trouble connecting to the downfield, though. It seems like Cannons is doing an excellent job separating these handlers from their downfield players.
Excellent job with the zone, absolutely. But once you open that up, here it is. They've cracked it, and they're continuing, and that's key. A round throw. Oh, what? A soaring leap from Courting, just placing that defensive pressure. I'm not sure if she got a hand on it or not, but regardless, just getting into the mind of the offense, being in that space.
Yeah, no, that was definitely doing enough.
The disc into a turnover.
Yeah, and that's what it is a lot of the time. It's just being there, pressuring. You can interrupt your offensive player a lot just by being there.
Edwards with the disc. Oh, and Nance lays out, can't reel it in, giving Ellipsis another chance on offense.
Yeah, it can be so hard on some of those static swings where you're just trying to get a fast little backhand away and it just drifts wide.
Egan Griffiths with the disc. It looks like Weatherall might be an isolated option here. Marked by Magnus, and she is breaking ankles.
Yeah, it's a cheeky little pop pass there for a score right in front. It's not very often you see someone scoring a meter on the open side, but that's what scores, you take it.
Weatherall is a challenging player in that small space. Her acceleration and agility together make it really difficult, really challenging, makes her a lethal weapon when she's isolated, especially in those small spaces.
Yeah, absolutely, and because she's a threat everywhere, it's why you have to respect the deep as well, which gives those just tiny little options open, so you really can go any direction.
Oh, that was a push pass there as well.
Yeah, a little cheeky.
I missed that. Toby, as you were saying, with a bit of style. Throws, yeah,
absolutely.
Seeing a range of throws with style and from Ellipsis, we'll give them style points for that.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a throwing clinic today. We've seen one of everything so far. The wind hasn't continued picking up either. It's actually stayed pretty steady or even dulled down a little bit. So it's kept it a very fast defensive game. There's not too much interference from the wind, so there's a lot of opportunity for big throws.
The score now 10-9 Ellipsis. Again, both teams neck and neck.
Man's collecting.
For those of you who are interested behind us for the Division 2 match that's happening, we've got Spring Chickens from Christchurch playing against Hundreds and Thousands. A cheeky nod to the sprinkles, maybe. And the score is 13-6 to Spring Chickens.
Oh, beautiful find by Cannons, finding space over in the behind. Oh, and just rushed that one just a little bit. And it's gone wayward of the offensive player there.
As Toby mentioned before, potentially a case of white line fever. Pong with the disc.
Oh, straight over the top to players.
Beautiful throw there.
Cannon's got to rush now to get back in front of this one. Just patient offense here from Ellipsis so far. They're not really in a hurry. A little bit of a call there. Possibly some contact or just discussion.
See that again.
An accidental strip, perhaps.
Disc is back in play. And a deep look. Finding Weatherall. Oh! What a defensive play. That was like a cat swipe out of the air.
It was beautifully read. To see that throw coming, get up, hit it at your peak, that's a beautiful feeling when you're a defender.
Victoria King riding that defensive wave, climbing up the ladder. Now Cannon's back on offense. Hammer from Nance, upwind. What a throw.
Huge swing.
She's been on it with the hammers today.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to see Cannons see if we can find some space here now, though, because it's a very junked up kind of defense there. And there's a lot of room kind of to the sides and deep of the field. We need to see if we can find some gaps. Oh, Ellipsis with a perfect intercept.
Yeah, baiting that in the middle. Oh, and Ellipsis kind of getting started with that flow, but maybe pushing it a bit too fast. Gives Cannons another opportunity.
Yeah, there's some problem solving to happen here for Cannons.
Valancourt on the disc, she's on the mark. Mance picking up, swinging to Edwards. Popping through the middle. Again, Cannons handlers showing that same chilly composure we've seen all game.
Yeah, the Cannons handlers are really looking super safe with it. Oh, small miscom there, but...
Valancourt calling it down. Now a game of not in and out, but up or down. What do you guys think? Players talking on the field. What do you guys think? Still discussing on the field. Looks like it may be a contested down call.
Yeah, just a really unfortunate miscommunication there. One where it was within reach of Mance, but you thought it might be a little bit wide, and so it was intended for someone else.
Sanders indicating she thought it was up. As it's, again, a contested turn, disc will be going back to Edwards. Mance looking for options. Swinging to Edwards, back to Mance. And I love this duo. Uncontested foul there. Looks like an uncontested strip. This duo, the chemistry that Mance and Edwards have had with each other, the creativity and vision that both have, has been really impressive to see.
And so reliable as well. Really safe hands, safe throws so far. Oh,
Edwards
a huge shot.
Launches it. Well, they're all in place to clean that up. She says, not today, to Anna Cairns.
Ooh.
And there's a foul on the throw. Although a nod to the layout there.
Yeah, great pick nonetheless. Gets a glory throw and gets the disc back. Perfect.
Sisson on the mark. Weatherall with the disc. Looks like she's cleaning it off. Early this morning, there was some dew on the grass. So as the disc is touching the ground, might be a bit damp. We'll see that burning off with the sun as it comes out. Huge fakes from Weatherall. Trying to find the open player. She finds Peng just in front. Ooh, Peng launches it outside in. Very risky throw. Good thing when you've got safe receivers.
Yeah, they had 4 players under that. That was that was definitely a numbers game.
And maybe that was planned.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good to get there. You've got to be in to win. We've seen a little bit of difficulty with the resets here, or the easy options for Ellipsis. Definitely having a little bit more trouble than Cannons on the easy shots.
Yeah, a bit more trouble there. Cannons, of course, providing a lot of defensive pressure right now, making that difficult. And Pigeon, once again, not afraid to get on the ground. She's been playing incredibly athletically. Pong launches it deep at Edwards.
Yeah.
Patrolling the skies, knocks that down.
Absolutely. Read that one. Perfect block. Now we need to see the flow here again. And it's, oh, nice.
Mance with her classic hammers straight to Weatherall, who seems to just be cleaning up those discs. She's finding wherever they need to go.
Yeah.
She's got a little bit of clairvoyance maybe in that deep space, finding you know where it's going to be put, or maybe it's just her skills as an offensive receiver. She's used to being thrown to, so she expects it on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. When you see the hammer hand go up,
yeah,
you know it's coming.
You know it's coming.
Cocked and ready. You're like, all right. Keep an eye out for that.
Ellipsis now calling a timeout, though. So both teams discussing what will be happening. We've got Ellipsis who will be picking up. That'll be Weatherall with the disc when they come back out on the field. Now, Toby, Ellipsis playing a strong game. They're 1 point in the lead right now. If you were the Ellipsis team captain, it looks like Alton is chatting right now with the team. What would you be saying? Where do you want the mindset to be?
Yeah, I think at this point in things, when you're up a point and you're feeling reasonably good, like you're generating turns, I think it's mostly just a stay calm and don't try to do anything crazy. Sometimes teams try and force it, try and force the win, try and force the point. But I think just playing through the game, staying comfortable is really the key to victory here. But you never know, like cannons might come out absolutely firing, and then it really is, it's on Ellipsis to solve it at that point.
We're zooming in on the fans in the stands that I was talking about before. Trying to wave our hands. They're eating bananas. It's important, of course, not just for the fans, but players on the field as well. When the sun's out, especially later in the day, we've got a 3-day tournament to get that potassium to avoid cramping. We were seeing some cramps yesterday, players crawling off the field. I think those were the worst injuries we were seeing, just the cramps on the field, but definitely something you need to watch out for.
Yeah. Got to keep those salts up, that's for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So as Toby's saying, yeah, chilly with the disc, I think, is probably what Ellipsis will be looking for. Cannons not taking the foot off the gas with that defensive pressure.
Yeah.
They've been forcing turns, keeping the energy high, especially with the marks. So really, I think you're right on Ellipsis to keep that chilly mindset, to be finding those throws, finding those open, easy options when they open up, and really continue fighting to create those options for the handlers.
Yeah, a lot of it's about trusting your team at this point, you know, like when there's a really high pressure defense and people aren't getting free straight away, you have to trust that someone will be free eventually and not panic and try and force something through. And as we've seen, a lot of these players are hustling around the field. There was a reset cut from Peng before where she ripped all the way back for a swing, then cut all the way forward and got a little pop in front of us, covering a lot of ground very quickly. So there's definitely the players on there that they need for the resets for sure.
Interesting setup here. So out of a timeout, offense sets first and then defense sets on them. I'm wondering if this may be a planned strategic play that Ellipsis has discussed. They've converted into what looks like a vertical stack. So with defensive pressure from cannons, may not have come off quite as they had planned.
Nice break side.
Breakthrough. Love the classic knee slide. Coming in with style. With the disc. And Edwards reading that. Finding the space. 2-mans.
Perfect read there. Oh, nice snag. Just reeled that one in.
Bestling in safe hands. Back to Edwards, who's finding her again. And Cannon's looking to convert on the end zone line, waiting for the options to open up.
Nice there by Edwards, just to provide that calm presence, to provide that reset. Really just make it like safe again for Cannons, just to show that they have the time to work this in.
And she is such a chilly player. I don't think I've seen Edwards ever get flustered. The kind of player you want in these high pressure points, high pressure games, to calmly run the field, launches a laser right where it needs to be to Anna Cairns with the point.
Yeah, it's a beautiful score. It really was like a labor of work. It's a long point, a lot of defensive pressure, had a timeout in the middle, and then had to work their way down. Beautiful work by Edwards finding, was it Bestling, was it? Yeah, Bestling on the side. It was
yeah,
really well done.
Outside in backhand that just opened things up on the break side. And there's that knee slide again, one more time from between. A great catch. And we're seeing, yeah, great catch from Bestling one more time. Edwards finding the open player. Swinging back again, and props again. There's none of that fever that we're talking about. Easy, making it look like textbook ultimate. Finding the right player, safe throws and catches, showing us how it's done.
Yeah, no, I mean that was a fantastic point, and it's definitely like Cannons are coming out with the defense. Like Ellipsis was, struggling to find those free, easy options,
Cannons hoping to ride this momentum, no doubt. Ride it through the end of the game, continue this point streak, and continue tallying up those points on the board. Meanwhile, Ellipsis coming out on offense, hoping to show how it's done. We've seen some beautiful athletic plays from both teams, especially Ellipsis recently. I see Angela Pigeon on the field, and hopefully her team's not going to make her do any more insane acrobatics to reel the disc in. But no doubt they're ready to do whatever's needed to contest what Cannons is throwing their way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Pigeon has absolutely been throwing the body on the line. We're going to see Ian Griffiths here likely being that centerpiece for the offense. The handling so far has been amazing from her.
We're hearing a lot of voices on the sideline. As I like to say, there's 3 lines generally in Ultimate. You have your O-line, your D-line, and of course the sideline. And the energy right now really feels like it's picked up from the sideline. Important at the end of a hotly contested game. Really, the sideline can provide those vibes on the field. Huge around, forehands, Pigeon.
Yeah, great hands by Pigeon.
Catching.
Yeah, so it's very similar here. Ellipsis kind of having the space over and behind. Cannon's doing this really like tight up-close defense. Oh, a little bit of a gap found here though. Atoya with the disc.
I'm loving this quick movement, these easy finds, these short passes. We know Ellipsis can absolutely run those deep looks and play the large game. Right now, playing a bit of small ball, which is so fun to see, the quick movements. And easily in the end zone. Weatherall is stoked to score that point. A range of throws. We saw her kick the disc before. She's slapping it down. Bringing the score to 11-10.
I believe that they said just before that one that it was game to 11. I think that might have been the game. It is. It looks like it's over. That is a win to Ellipsis. 11-10. Extremely tight game.
And likely why there was so much celebration. What a treat to have watched this game. Any closing thoughts, Toby?
Oh, just kudos to both teams for putting in such a great effort. Like, it's a morning game, so you have to get up and fight for it. And just to see such a tight kind of, and well-spirited. So much athleticism, but the spirit stayed really high. It's a fantastic watch.
Yep, fantastic work from both teams. Props to the players. Thank you all for joining us as well. We'll be continuing to stream for the rest of the day here on ulti.TV. We're at the 2023 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. Thanks for joining. Again, I'm Kelsey Bielik.
And I'm Toby Sutherland.
We'll tune in soon.
ulti.TV